Hello everyone, how are you? I hope all of you are doing really good, sir. Yes, definitely after the costing paper, we are feeling really good, sir. Right? So this is a very quick review of the paper. I'm not going to discuss the answers in detail, but just a common opinion on how the question paper has been. So if you ask my opinion, I've just gone through with the question paper. I've not solved it or anything, but at a very first look of the question paper, one thing I can say is this is a very easy question paper. Yes, but one thing, as everyone has been saying that, sir, it was lengthy. Yes, I agree to you. I respect your opinion because I was not there, right? I was not there. You people were there to attempt, so you are the best judge of it. Yes, it was a lengthy paper, no doubts about it, but in terms of the difficulty levels, I would say this is one of the easiest papers of costing. Very straightforward questions, nothing too much of the fancy things. I mean, they made it very simple, right? If you look at a few questions, sir, very simple. If you have done the practice in the right way, na, this was one of the easiest papers. First question, material costing, very simple, right? Material costing. First question was material costing. In this particular question, EOQ you would have calculated. The problem here would have been, sir, how to calculate the average consumption per day. The average consumption per day was annual requirement, that is 1,94,400 divided by 360 days. This was your average consumption. 400 divided by 360 days, that is 540. And your maximum consumption then would have been 540 plus 200, that is 740. Once you have the average consumption and the maximum consumption, easily you would have calculated the minimum consumption, right? This is how it was to be attempted. The maximum stock level, economic order quantity, reorder level, maximum stock level, everything was easy then, right? Lead time is given to you, maximum, average, minimum. It was only about the consumption, that how the consumption is to be calculated. That's the only thing that was there in the question, right? And this question, I already had it in my book. Similar question was there in my book. If all those who have practiced it from my book, this type of a question was already there. Okay, so this B part, this was a very simple question. In the ICAI module, this was a modified question of the ICAI module. In the ICAI module, this material cost was not given to you. This was to be calculated. In this particular question, they have given the material cost also, right? So what is there? Very simple, sir. Calculate the standard time for the completing the job, and the effective hourly rate was required under the Halsey premium plan. The effective hourly rate is total total earnings divided by time taken, divided by actual time taken, right? Then once you have all the figures, time allowed, time taken, time saved, you can calculate the earnings per hour if the wages would have been paid under the Rowan plan. Now here, if you might have committed one mistake, I'm not sure if you have committed or not. If you have not calculated the earnings per hour, right, the requirement of the question is to calculate the earnings per hour. If you have not calculated that, you will lose marks, right? You will lose marks, sir, right? So labor costing question, sir. Labor costing, another simple question, straightforward question, not at all difficult question. Joint products, a similar kind of a question was there. Joint and byproduct, not at all a difficult question by NRV. This question was required to be done by NRV, right? A, B, C from the joint product, B is sold at split off point, whereas A and C are sold after further processing. 10% of the quantity of the product A is lost in further processing. Data regarding those products are given further as follows. Number of units being produced and sold is given. Selling prices are given at split off, and after split off, further processing cost is given to you. Joint production cost up to the split off point is become separable products. Prepare a statement of apportionment of the joint cost to the product using NRV method. NRV, sales after split off point minus further processing cost, that will give you the share in the joint cost, right? This was a good question, I would say, right? Then it was that if someone is offering you a different price, then whether you should be going for that. Okay, then contract costing, straightforward question. Contract costing, 5 marks, not at all a difficult question. This kind of a question was there in the module itself, right? Very simple, very simple, very simple, straightforward question. After that, cost sheet. A good question on the cost sheet, sir. Good question on the cost sheet. There were only small points. For example, the rent of factory building, 1/5 used for office. That means out of this, 1/5 is to be taken for admin expenses, office and administration expenses, right? If it is not separately, then general administration expenses, right? Yes, it is to be taken in the general administration overheads, and 4/5 it is to be taken as in the production, right? Depreciation of machinery, depreciation of delivery vans to be taken in selling and distribution expenses, consumable stores and indirect wages, fine sir, factory overheads, no issues, quality control cost, packaging, primary packaging cost is a part of your production cost, and there is one packing cost for transportation. Now this is to be included in selling cost, right? This is to be included in selling and distribution cost. This packing, raw material, closing stock and opening stocks are given. So it was pretty simple. Trade discount is to be subtracted while calculating the value of raw material being consumed. Yes sir, trade discount you will subtract, sir, from the purchase price, right? Rest everything is given. Material purchased minus trade discount. Simple. Cash discount, had it been cash discount there, no treatment, sir. Clear? Okay, so this was a cost sheet question. And this further information was something good. I found it to be good, right? This rectification cost, this is to be taken as cost of production, right? This is to be taken in the cost of production, and the scrap, this is to be subtracted from the cost of production, right? Because it is generated during the year. It is not directly a scrap value of the raw material. It is the scrap which is generated during the year, right? So this is how you have to calculate. Okay, now this was a very good question. Budgetary. Yes, I was going through some of the groups and Telegram and all that. This was one of the most talked about question, and yes, this is a very good question. This is not at all a difficult question, I would say. Budgetary control, it was a very good question. There are various product sale quantities, sale prices are given to you for the September, right? And you are required to calculate the budget for October, November and December. For October, the data for September will serve as the opening. Closing stock for the period is given, right? When he is talking about the production budget, how will you calculate the production budget, sir? What is the sales required during the October, November and December, right? And sales regarding plus closing stock minus opening stock. For October, this will be the opening stock, sir. The closing stock of September. For the sales, this data is given, that how the sales are changing, right? 50% increase than the previous month. So here you must have calculated first the sales value. Here, calculate the sales value, and according to that, make the changes as given in the question. It was a simple question. It wasn't a difficult question, but yes, I loved this question. Preferably, particularly this budgetary question, very good, sir. Very good question. After that, as I told you, this is just a quick review from my side, that if any difficult question is there or few points. Overhead question, very straightforward question. Very straightforward, right? Nothing as such that I would say. Security expense, right? Very straightforward question. I don't think so there was anything specific in this, right? Now, if you talk about the security expense for the factory, it can be on the basis of area, right? Insurance of machinery on the net book value, depreciation of machinery on machinery, factory rent on area, power on horsepower of machine into machine hours, right? Or horsepower, both ways. Insurance of machinery on machinery, supervisor expenses. Supervisor expenses can be on the number of employees. It can be on number of employees. Now, there is one specific point in this question. What is that point, sir? Read the last point. He says, calculate the most appropriate overhead absorption rate for each of the production department, right? So, how many production? 2 production departments. If you see, for the first production department, which one it is, sir? For P, what will you choose for as the absorption rate? There can be 2 things. One is the machine hours, another thing can be labor hours. And if you see, P is a machine intensive, so I will go for In case of department P, I will go for the machine hours for the absorption of overheads. And in case of Q, it is a labor intensive department. So I will go with the labor hours in this particular case, right? If you have taken something differently, then you might lose marks. You might lose marks, right? So this was the requirement, rest everything was simple. Now, this was a service costing question. Again, a good question, sir. In this particular question, I know many of the students must have gone with the mindset of that conversion, the equivalent number of equivalent rooms and all those things which we have done in the ICAI module. But in this particular question, nothing was required to be done because everything was given to you separately for all the three rooms. So it was straightforward, nothing to be done. If these expenses are given, salaries to staff, electricity expenses, at the same time he is giving you the ratios for the distribution of that. So there was no need to convert it into equivalent number of rooms and all those things. If you have tried something that like that, I don't know, you must have wasted the time on that, right? Okay, so this was a lengthier question. This was a lengthier question. Definitely the activity based costing, in which they are asking you to prepare as per activity also and as per that traditional method, activity based costing. The question wasn't difficult, I would say, but yes, the question was almost similar to, I think in the module we have a similar kind of a question, right? But yes, definitely this question was quite a lengthy one for 10 marks. I would say this particular question requires more marks than 10 marks, right? If you are asking for both the methods and the difference in selling price, this can't be for 10 marks. For 10 marks, it is beyond, that. After that, whether Noida shutdown point in the marginal costing, the least expected topic, shutdown point, that is there. Whether the company should shut down, when the company should be shutting down. If the company is not able to recover the fixed cost, the company should shut down, right? So this was a marginal costing question, and I have covered the shutdown point, sir. This was marginal costing. मैंने cover कर रखा है sir shutdown point. ये मत कहना कि sir आपने cover नहीं कर रखा था. But a good question, very good question. Process costing, very simple question. Process costing was a straightforward question, right? Nothing as such difficult. I don't think so. Nothing as such difficult. Normal loss is there. No realizable value for the normal loss, and there might be some abnormal loss or abnormal gain also. There might be, sir, 78,000 minus 7,800. Yes, there was an abnormal loss in this case. In this case, you must be having the abnormal loss also, sir, right? Because 78,000 kg you have input, this much you have transferred. This is your normal loss. Minus 68,640. 1560 would have been abnormal loss here. 1560 would have been abnormal loss. And in case of process B, 68,640 minus 240. Then here you have abnormal gain. In this case, you have an abnormal gain of 600 kgs, right? Whether it is correct or not, you people can tell me in the comment section. Rest of the things were easy, right? PQR allows limited using a standard costing. A good question, but a very simple question. Very simple question on standard costing. Standard costing. All those who are having my books, or all those who have joined the costing all-rounder course, they must have been able to attempt it, because this kind of a question I have done it there, where these ratios are given to you. It wasn't a difficult question. It wasn't a difficult question at all. If you have prepared the tables in the right way, you must have been able to solve it. The following data relates to the manufacture of VD. I think this was kind of a job costing question. Job costing question. There was a particular job for this VD 100, right? So this was a job costing question. Please let me know in the comment section if you find anything difficult in this question. I don't think so. Scrap value is there. Factory overheads are 80% of wages. That's fine. Selling and distribution overheads are 54 rupees per unit sold. No opening and closing stock of material and WIP. So this was a kind of job costing question, right? For a particular product, you have got a job and that's it. Integrated, sir, for 4 marks, you are getting this integrated. This is bonus. Bonus. Cost accounting systems. Sir, this is bonus. Integrated accounting, and that too just the journal entries. What can you ask more from the God today, यार? कुछ और भी मांग लिया होता ना, वो भी मिल जाता सर आज पेपर में. इतना आसान पेपर. But yes, one thing I agree to 101% that it was a lengthy paper. It was a lengthy paper. But one thing for sure, जितना भी अटेम्प्ट किया है, जितना भी अटेम्प्ट किया है, अगर आपने सही अटेम्प्ट किया है तो मार्क्स मिल जाएंगे, इसमें कोई डाउट नहीं है. Whatever you have attempted, whether 70 marks, 80 marks, whatever you have attempted, if you have written that correctly, if you have not done the calculation mistakes and all the in that, you will definitely fetch good marks in this paper. That is my guarantee. Right? So nothing to worry as of now. One thing I would say, that just forget about costing now and focus on the taxation, right? So all the best to all of you for the further papers. This is not a detailed explanation of the paper. This was just an overview that how the paper is, and a few points I have discussed here in between, but don't worry, even if that is wrong, nothing to worry about it. All of you are going to fetch good marks in that. Okay? So just stay calm and forget about costing now. Whatever you have done, you have done. You can't change it now, right? अब बदल तो सकते नहीं सर, कॉस्टिंग के पेपर में जब जो लिखा है वो लिखा है, अब उसको बदल सकते हो? नहीं बदल सकते सर. तो अब किसकी तैयारी करो? टैक्स की तैयारी करो. अगर थोड़ी बहुत कहीं कमी रह भी गई है कॉस्टिंग में, तो उसको टैक्स में कवर करने की कोशिश करो, राइट? सो ऑल द बेस्ट फॉर द फर्दर पेपर्स. टिल देन स्टे सेफ, स्टे हेल्दी, कीप स्टडिंग, कीप शेयरिंग. थैंक यू सो मच.